friends, let's start. Good morning and welcome to the session on inventory management. Friends, before I dive deep into the subject, let's try to understand the supply chain which caters to the need of the customer. Customer says, I need 1,000 laptops, I need 1,000 tables, I need this. Like this, there are many customers who are asking for the need. And if you look at the chain, starting from the raw material to the supplier, and from supplier it is connected to manufacturer, from manufacturer to distributor, distributor to retailer and customer. Now everyone is keeping a stock of items around. Why? One, they don't want disruption. They don't want stockouts. So if the customer comes, items are available in time. Even if I'm an e-commerce business, I should be able to deliver the goods within 24 hours. So to ensure that, everybody is keeping inventory. So now at least we understand the role of inventory. Now this inventory costs money. So inventory is not that. The money, who pays for it at the end of the day? Inventory means you're holding money is there, you're occupying a space. All that extra cost because of the extra inventory, which you are keeping in the goodwill, that there's no stockouts, fine. But who pays for it? Customer. But if you want to be cost effective, the world is becoming very competitive. Keeping enough inventory is one thing, but keeping just in time, just optimum inventory is another thing. If you're keeping too much, then possibility your cost is higher, you may not be competitive. So this is where the role of inventory management comes in. I would put it this way in a broad sense. If I look at all the manufacturing company, around 20 to 25% of the money is blocked in inventory. So if you can cut down that inventory, certainly who's going to get the benefit? Either your bottom line will get improved or the customer will get the best price. So both ways it is win-win. So that indicates the role of inventory management is very, very crucial. If you want our companies, whether it's an e-commerce company, whether it's a retail company, whether it's a manufacturing, anyone, they want to be competitive, inventory management has to be the key function. So it's one of the key important roles, I would say, in the supply chain. So with this, friends, let's start what we are planning to cover this in the morning's this session. The session, what we are trying to have, the learning objective is first understand the function of inventory. What is inventory? Why do I need to have inventory? Which I've given you some synopsis of this. The types of inventories. We're going to talk about the types part, is the raw material, is the finished goods, all those things around. Inventory management. Should I follow the ABC analysis around? Should I follow the Pareto analysis? Then there's a concept of record accuracies around. If you're keeping inventories, you might have seen that the inventory has been moved from one place to another place. On the computer it is showing there, but actual item is not available. It has been kept at the wrong place. Or there's a theft, there's a loss, whatever may be. So the record accuracy is very important around. And the question comes then how we ensure that this is correct, the figures and so. So we do the cycle counting. Then the control of service inventories around, what service level we need. Inventory model for independent demands. Now there are two types of demands. One is independent, one is dependent demands. So we're talking of independent demands first. The economic order quantities, minimizing the cost. What is the reorder point? So at least I expect that from today's session, I hope everybody will understand what is reorder, what is safety level, why are they needed around. That's what I look at. Broadly, I would put around in this session of 1 hour, we tried to give the concept of optimizing inventory levels and build inventory management plans. That's how we talk. Now let's start with the very basic. What is inventory? Inventory or stocks or both things around. So you are doing a lot of accumulation of material resources which are required in the transformation, starting from raw material, work in progress, which are used to make the finished product. And those finished product, that's the stock part, is also inventory. So inventory is nothing but all the resources required from beginning to end to make the parts, and even the finished good which has to be given later on to the customer, they are all part of the inventory. So once we understood what is inventory, then now the next term comes, what is inventory management? So the way the accumulation of these materials is optimized is nothing but the optimization. I'm not saying that you're going to get rid of totally inventories. I mean, the concept of GIT is there around. I've seen where the GIT is only for 2 hours. There could be just in time. In some countries, it may need more time. So it varies around. So main objective is optimizing the supply chain, optimizing the flow, so that my inventories are not stuck anywhere. And inventories, to me, anything which is stuck is a waste. So that muda, which Japanese call around, so that has to be dropped down. That's what we're looking at. Again, the same concept of inventory, I'm trying to explain further on this, is nothing but the management of inventory and stock. Stock is the finished goods. Now, inventory management includes aspects like controlling, overseeing ordering, inventory, storage of inventories, how I'm storing it, and controlling the amount of product for sale. If my demand is X, how much stock I'm keeping around? Do I keep 2X, 3X? All that thing you have to, because there are seasonality. Sometimes you will feel, okay, I'm keeping a stock for a week, but every day, someday I find more demand for the goods, someday I find less. And similarly, if I look at the year, sometimes there's a season, when there's a festive season, the demand goes up, and after the festive season, it drops down. So that is all we're going to talk about. So I would say this is one of the most expensive assets of many companies, representing as much as 40%. I've seen those days when we used to, when I'm talking of in 70s and 80s, when we used to have the stock of goods 4 months, 5 months, because half the items were being imported. The flow was not that fast. We used to keep a stock of 5 to 6 months even, because we never wanted disruption in the assembly line. If there's a disruption in the assembly line, there's a disruption of flow of goods to the customer as well. So this is the money which is blocked there around, and this is where what we're trying to see, how we can cut down. And that there has been a big improvements, particularly in the automobile. I think on average, I find the inventory level, which I've seen with big companies in India, is touching around 21 days, 25 days. That's a turnover around, which is a big improvement compared to if I go 2 decades back, used to be 3 months, 4 months. Today it is only less than a month. So that's a big improvement. So that's a big saving ground. Now the objectives when we look around for the inventory management, we want acceptable level. I'm not saying there's a 0 level, but there's an acceptable level of customer service, on-time delivery. Particularly those of us who are in even, who's in e-commerce, the competition is how quick you are able to deliver the goods. Like in the US, they say, guys, you give an order, within 3 hours, the goods are at your place. So customer is, because we are all becoming customer-centric. So we need the inventories around, but how much? That's a big question mark. Allow cost-efficient operations and minimize investment on inventories. That's what we do. Now here comes the type of inventories around. Inventory is a stock or store of goods. Both are there around. Stock means the finished goods. In this chart, you will find the independent demand is the high level. And then the dependent is all which is depending on, in this case, let's say A, I'm making bicycle or I'm making cars. My independent demand is how many cars I'm going to make. My independent demand is how many mobile phone I'm going to make. But then each mobile phone or each laptop or each auto company needs further dependent demand. If I look at a simple item like a bike, if I'm going to sell the bicycle, let's say 1 lakh bicycle, then the dependent demand could be each bike requires 2 wheels around. So 2 wheels, 2 into 1 lakh, This 2 lakh is the dependent demand on the wheels. Similarly, tires, similarly, paddles. So that's the dependent demand. Then each assembly, sub-assembly, will have further components. So there's the independent demand, which is at the finished good level. Dependent demand, what goes behind it to make the finished good, that's we call as dependent demand. So dependent, independent. Now the function of inventory is the way we look. Obviously, the main thing is to meet anticipated demand. The sales forecast has been done that this is what we are going to sell next month. I've got the sales forecast. Obviously, they do it on a yearly basis. By month they review it. They review even on weekly basis. So that demand forecast is being passed on to the production schedule, and production schedule makes it MR. So that's one way around. If I go with the pull system, then it's a different approach. So there's one to meet the anticipated demand, and next is to smooth the production requirements, and third is to protect against stockouts. It's all about competition. Those days are gone when we used to have one car, one color. Now choices are many. If you don't get one, your loyalty changes to another one. Mobile phone, again many choices are around. So in the world of competition, nobody wants to be in a stockout situation. So stockouts, if you want to avoid, you need to keep the inventories. How much, where, when, I think is a big question mark. To take advantage of order cycles, so that's another one. To help hedge against the price increases. Sometimes we keep inventories, we know that the prices are bound to increase, so let me keep the stock of it. So I hedge it against the price increases. So it basically is hedging me because I'm keeping extra inventory. I know very well as the market is going now, sometime it could be other way around. Like last 2 years, raw material prices were going down. If I look at cadmium, chromium, nickel, all they were going down. Even the oil was going down. But now it's again picking up, so it's again a cyclic. So one needs to do, keeping in mind the pattern, if I'm in that business, I'll try to foresee what is going to happen in the next 6 months. What trends are bound to be there around. So according to that, maybe I keep an extra inventory if it is able to compensate the price rise. And to permit operations to take advantage of quantity discount. This is also very crucial. As a procurement person, we all know if I buy a bigger lot, I'm able to leverage the price. But if I'm buying in bits and pieces, assuming that I'm going with just in time, only I buy the stock what I need today, my quantities are less, my price may be higher. But if I buy for a bulk for a month, obviously my price goes down. But then there's a negative part is my inventory goes up. So one has to do the balancing act around. So the type of inventories which are there, obviously, very first is raw material. If I look at the whole chain, the raw material is the first one where it starts. It's purchased but not processed. I get the iron sheet, I buy oils, I buy this, they're all my raw material. Then I convert them into the work in progress. So this work in progress means in the production shop, there's a conversion going on, there's a transformation going on of the raw material. I'm punching the raw material, I'm doing the stamping of the raw material, somebody is painting it, somebody is drilling it. There's a transformation going on. And that is also work in progress. Then we are also buying some of the MRO items like maintenance items, repair items, operational items, the machinery which are used to make it. Or even if I'm in the e-commerce business, I have a warehouse, I've got forklift, I've got pallet trucks, I need the maintenance, repair, operation of them. So the type of goods I need, they're also there. And lastly, when it reaches the last distributor or the retailer, the finished goods are being kept there. So that could be another. So in short, there are 4 types: raw material, work in progress, MRO, and finished goods. In this chain, you can see very clearly the raw material is there, the components are being formed, the work in progress, finished good, computer is ready, the desktop is ready, going to the transportations, and finally there are MRO items. It could be spanner, hammer, whatever you may call it out. So they're also used to maintain the flow. But if you look at this cycle time, I think this gives you a very good idea around somebody is making input, somebody is waiting for the inspection, waiting to be moved, waiting and standing in the queue. So by the time the raw material gets converted into output, 95% of it is waiting time. Actual work is only 5%. And this waiting time is a waste. So this is where we do around wherever we work as consultant on supply chain. We always look around in the whole supply chain, whether of service, whether of goods, how much is the waste time? How much is the waiting time? You and me, when we stand in the bank in the good old days, there's a waiting time. Actual work could be about 5 minutes, but the waiting time could be 1 hour. If that waiting time is a frustration and that waiting time is a waste, if we can cut down that, that means the supply chain is the best. The supply chain could be in the bank, supply chain could be in any service industry, supply chain could be in any company they were manufacturing also. So the waiting time for the goods before they're put into the final product, that has to be chopped around. One machine has made the parts. Items are piling up, occupying space before it goes to the next one. How do we balance the machine flow? That's also important. Now, another types of inventories, which we could call it also, like in the beginning we said 4 types, but now here we're saying how they are used around. If an inventory is meant for anticipation, guys, okay, the festive season is coming up. So during the festive season, certainly I need to keep extra strong. Safety stock also have to keep around. So that means I have to keep a safety stock in case my demand pushes up. I should have a backup. Lot size or the cycle stock. If I feel I'm able to get discount on this, can I buy in a bulk? So that's another part where I take extra inventory, I know, but if it is giving me better pricing and overall I'm able to make a good savings, then yes, it makes sense. Then there's the transportation inventories, how much I need in the pipeline. Speculative, I think I already touched on this. If I feel that there is, let's say I'm getting I'm in the steel industry, my raw material is coming, the iron ore is coming, and I know there's a problem going on in that state, I will buy the raw material or coal in much in advance before the strike comes up and the whole plant of mine comes to a strike. So that speculation is there around. MROs, inventories again. Now this gives you the reasons for keeping inventory. I think to a lot of extent I've covered it, but let me quickly go through it. So there is a demand forecast. Certainly the sales people have given us. The forecast is there. I need inventories. Unpredictables, late deliveries, minimum supplier order quantities. Suppliers say, guys, less than this I will not deliver you. You have to buy the minimum lot. You may say, I want it just in time with 2 hours, only stock of 2 hours. But the supplier says, guys, you have to, whenever I supply you, this is the minimum size. So supplier delivery intervals, stocking methodologies, reorders, strategic sourcing. And you can see in this, again, this variation is there. If I look at average out, it might be a straight line, but actual demand goes up and down. But the supplier capacity is fixed. So when the supplier capacity is on the higher side more than the demand, then naturally I'm building the stock. And when it comes to the other side after the peak is over, that means my supplier capacity, when the peak comes up, my supplier capacity is less than the peak, but the stock which I build up helps me to overcome the demand. And then this cycle goes on. I think this gives a very good graphical view, again in a very basic sense way, how much inventory to hold. Look at the tub, there's a flow of water. or you could call the rate of supply of inputs and outputs. At the end of the day, the common sense prevails that this tank should not get empty. The day it gets empty, my outflow totally dries out. So my process of in and out, I have to only ensure this bin of the goods. This is how they use in the Kanban. So there is a bin. The moment it dries out, so that means there is something. So I have to ensure there's a minimum level maintained around. Now, when we're keeping extra inventories, there are financial implications. The money is blocked. I'm occupying a space. I'm having a variable storage space, inventory management cost. And then the goods which have become not able to sell, there's an obsolescence. So that is very important around. I mean, if there's obsolescence has been, either I have to sell them later at very half the price, discounted price, and nobody wants to buy it. So that's also waste of it. The cost of not holding enough inventories, I think the only bottom line I can say in this one is, if they don't have inventories, customers will come to your place, they won't find the goods, the loyalty can change, so your service level goes down. The customer is used to getting the goods on the spot. And then later on they say, guys, okay, we can wait for a day. And the day becomes 5 days. So you lose customers. So there's a balancing act. Do you want to serve them with 100% service level? Do you want to serve them with 90% service level or 80% service level? 100% service level means I have to keep extra inventory. And if I'm cutting down my service level, my inventory goes down. So other side, I'm saving money. So one has to draw the balancing act. What is the best service level? Now here comes, when we understood inventory, we have understood inventory management. What is the role of the inventory management? I'm working as an inventory manager. What is my job? My job is to ensure optimize inventory level, reducing the holding cost, and if possible, if I can cut down the varieties, particularly if I go with my experience in good old days with manufacturing, we used to have tons of varieties of nuts and bolts. If we have a tie-up with Americans company, we were getting an inches. Then we had something in metrics. So many varieties around, which could be easily streamlined to 1 or 2 sizes. So this is where we were trying to cut down the varieties also. And we used to take the help of the design people. Can we cut down the varieties? I'm keeping 15 varieties of nuts and bolts. Can I cut down to 10? Can I cut down to 5? So that's the way standardization around. I've got 10 type of cars. I've got 20 type of model of filter, air filters. Can I cut down to this? So again, cutting down the varieties around. You cut down the varieties, your batch size become bigger. Obviously, you save money on the procurement side also. Now, reaching and surpassing the international quality and traceability standards. There are standards whether I'm able to. My inventory level is correct. Now, particularly those who are doing online, real-time basis, their inventory quality is very good compared to those who are doing counting after every 2 months, 3 months. I've seen those days also when we used to count after every 1 month or 3 months, depending on the ABC level, maximizing the service level. How can I improve my service level? If my customer wants, should I give it on the spot? Or should I make it, guys, the moment you give it to me, you will get your goods within 1 hour, or within 1 day, or within 1 month. Service level has to be defined. Like anything else, like human beings, everybody is moving into the lean philosophy and being in the inventories, because inventory is a fat, inventory is a waste. So the philosophy is based on eliminating all the waste from the supply line. Now the waste could be of 7 type, overproduction, I'm doing more than required. The items are waiting in the queue. They are in the transportations. Inappropriate processing is done. I've done the processing, but The one which I was supposed to process, I've taken the wrong model. It's wrong. Unnecessary inventories, unnecessary motion. If I'm moving the goods from X to Y place and frequent movements are required around, can I cut down that? Can I connect them with a belt so that item moves straightway when it comes out from A, it goes to B immediately. I'm not waiting for the forklift. I'm not waiting for the pallet. So unnecessary motions, that's also avoided around, and defects. If there's more defects in manufacturing, I have to do the rework. So rework is a waste. I know it many times when we used to make around the goods. Oh, you say, what is the acceptance rate around? Oh, we used to use 6 sigmas and all this. Okay, within 6 sigmas, okay, 3.4 parts per million. But if I look on the other Japanese, I say, why 3.4 parts? Why not 0 defect? So the philosophy is 0, 0, 0. More the defects, more the rework, more money blocked into that. That's how we look at it. Now the concept is coming one side, we're talking of efficient supply chain, which is the lean part, using the GIT philosophy. Other side is agile. I'm becoming leaner, but at the cost of some service level. But if I want to be 100% responsive, the moment I get a request, my goods are there. So I don't give a chance to the customer to complain around, guys, you are slow in delivering. So people are moving into some agile, responsive supply chain. So one is very lean, efficient, obviously but that works very well if your demand is relatively stable and predictable. Varieties are low, but in the case of this one, responsive one, your focus is on responsiveness over waste elimination. While in the case of lean, the focus was on waste elimination. Here the focus is also on waste, but not the major one. The major is, guys, can it deliver the goods? That's the issue. Now it comes managing of the inventories around. The very popular word which is coming around, many of you know, is VMI. So one side we have a customer manage. So supplier keeps inventories at the customer premises. Customer pays for the storage space. Reordering can be automatic. But supplier cannot sell the inventory elsewhere. The vendor management means basically the supplier has specialized expertise that the buyer lacks. So it's basically VMI. So the most common model which is coming around is VMI. While in some of the retail business, it is customer managed in one way. That means whenever my level goes, food items, or milk, or whatever it goes to the minimum level, the reorder goes automatically. Computer system understands to the real-time basis, because down to the minimum level, order goes automatically. The items are coming in. And then the cross-docking operation, if I got 200 stores around, it's coming to one place, feeder place, and from feeder I'm straightway sending it to the other parts. Cross-docking also there. Now the lead time part, I think this word is very important for all of us to understand in supply chain. What is the lead time? Now the lead time is nothing but is a composite lead time. It could be the buyer's internal lead time. I'm a customer. I go to my procurement department. I make a request around. Procurement guys takes 4 days before they process the purchase order. And they take a 1 week. That's also part of the lead time I will take. Supplier's lead time. Then the logistic delivery lead time. If you really see the composite, we look at those. I know in many of the books we only talk of supplier lead time or how much supplier takes to deliver it. But we forget around the lead time is a composite one. So this is how the lead time can be managed. It's a crucial one, but often neglected aspects of inventory control. This is how it is. Vendor managed inventories, if you look around, the ultimate in customer-supplier relationship. Common and sophisticated supply markets around. Retailers, electronic point of sale, automatic updates the supply files around. Now GIT, I don't think I should go much into this, but I think you all know very well around. It cuts down the cycle times, work in progress is reduced, and then the waste and delivery eliminated around. Then there's the concept of QQM, people involvements. So this is how it is. It's basically the staff gets involved around. So GIT managers empower their staff around. This is how we look at it. Now if you look at the implementation wheel, so in the implementation wheel we have, we standardize the manufacturing design. Then we are trying to do the preventive maintenance, increase the total qualities, increase the total quality control, work on reducing the setup times, review and change the plant layout. So everywhere where the waste is happening around, so these are the components of all GITs, change to smaller machines. If I've got a big machine which makes a batch of 1,000 pieces while I need only 100 in the flow charts, so that means occupying space. Train workforce to be more flexible, implementing the full scheduling, full concept which Dell came up long back. Then we are looking at steady reduce the lot sizes. High visibility brings improvements. Adopt GIT purchasing and SCM. Now this is GIT's one strategy of inventory management. So there are two strategies around. One strategy is go with just in time, just make what is required for the flow. Second is we follow MRP. Those of you who are in production, I think they know very well MRPs. But same concept can be applied in any other activities around where your flow of the goods are there. So there's a forecast. So forecast is doing for the independent demand. And from independent demand, you're making the dependent demand. And then you're making your production schedule or assembly schedule, and then trying to look around what is in the inventory, how much is the gap, how much more I need to make, and then place an order. I think this chart will give you some ideas around. I get my inputs from the master schedule, how much is required. I have my bill of materials. So bill of material would be, if I was telling you like a bicycle, there are many components that goes into this to make a bicycle, the bill of material. I have the inventory records, so I have my MRPs, and then I get how much inventory is record, and then according to that I make the orders. I release the orders, that's what we do. Another concept which is there in the inventory is service level, service level. I think in a simple way, if I will say around, if I have to deliver the goods, the customer comes, goods are available immediately. Guys, come and pick it up. 100% service level. Any type, any color, any model, each and every item is available. But if you tell them, guys, okay, this color is available, but not this color around, this will take another 1 day, then there is a service level issue. Now, question comes whether should I have 100% service level, for which I may have to keep extra inventory, which is at the cost. Second could be that I say, guys, I can compromise with service level. I can do 90% because the market trend is 90%. You have to go with the market. I mean, obviously, you can't decide of your own. Depending on the product, you have to look at the market. If market, everybody is giving 100% service level, you have to follow that. But if you feel, let's say in the beginning, now iPhone came around in the US, I know there was a big queue for that. Even for iPhone X, 10, it's already booked. So that means there is a time. People have to wait till they get the delivery of the phone. So there is a service level issue. So service level is not necessarily, the competitors might be giving 100%, but since that brand is very particular and people can wait for it. Look at Teslas. People have booked last year the Series 300 and they are still to get the delivery this year. So there is a service level issue, that's what we look at. So the definition is very simple. The percentage of requisitions and orders satisfied at first request. If I'm able to satisfy all my requisitions today, I get it on the spot 100%. But if it is less, I can say, guys, I can cover only 50%. 50% come tomorrow, 50% come after 1 week. That means my service level is poor. So keep in mind, what are the market trends? How good is your product? Can people wait for it? Everything is there. And same applied to service industry also. Here comes the classification part. I mean, if you look ABC, so ABC level is A is a high values. I mean, I'll say before ABC, the Pareto analysis came around. He was an Italian guy. He said, guys, we can divide everything into 80-20. And we use a lot of that thinking around when we do our strategy for procurement, which are 80% value items, number-wise 20%, which are 20% value-wise, but in numbers maybe 80%. So our focus, our strategy depends on Pareto analysis. But then based on the same philosophy, they are gone into ABC. And this word has been, for ages I've been hearing around. Even when I came from the college, so first thing in the inventory we were told, oh, this is the A item, this is B item, C item. C means low values, don't worry. It doesn't cost much. Even if it is lost, we will again buy it. So ABC classification, but sometimes in assembly, the C item could also be very critical. So that again is a bottleneck issue I look into separately. So if I look at the chart, so this one will give you some ideas. A items, B item, C item. So A item is covering, let's say 80%. B is covering only 15. C is only 5%. But the number is big. So if you look me as an inventory manager, and if I want to follow the same approach, C will eat away all my time. While A will require less of time, but in terms of impact is much more. Any efforts I put on the A items is visible because I'm able to make some impact on it. C item is a huge number. So you need to have different approach, different philosophy, different strategy while dealing with this. So A item requires different strategy, B item requires different strategy, C item requires. Now inventory policy at SKU level also. This also I think is different. So sometimes what happens is items, you got different, I hope everybody understands SKU level. Item is same. I've got a mug of milk, a mug of water, whatever. It's a white color, blue color, yellow color. So item is one. All are mugs, same size, same material, everything. But then 3 colors. So at SKU level, they become 3. So then we need a different policies. How do I take care of this around? So you can see in this one, the mugs are 3. Item number is same. Item ID could be same. But if I look from the SKU level, it could be different. So you need a different policies. But then the policy will depend which color is more popular. But again, this is very changes depending on the customer behavior. Suddenly everybody is buying the blue and then you find, no, this is out. Everybody buys a pink, everybody buys yellow. So this could be very changing over time. So one has to change with the time. Your forecast has to be correct. This gives you very common philosophy which we use in procurement. Every activities of when I'm dealing with supplier, whether at the inventory level, whether it's supplier, whether in procurement, we try to divide all our activities, either for the inventory level, are they routine items? Are they my leverage items? Are they my critical or bottleneck? So you have to keep in mind the vertical line here. This side on the right side is the 2. I mean, if you look at the matrix, the 2 ones, boxes around, they're 20% of the item, but value-wise 80%. On the left side, I've got 80% of the items and 20% of the values. Now, the critical means relatively low safety stock around. I have to keep the safety stock, but low because the cost is higher. Shortest review intervals, I will review them on a regular basis. I won't wait for months and months, because suddenly I find my assembly line is stuck. Highest degree of monitoring and control. Leverage. Now the critical, I can quote you one example. I know one of the automobile company. They were getting their transmission box from Thailand. There was a big flood in 2011 and they were not able to get it. Since the item is coming from one supplier and it's a very critical item, without that the car cannot go out. So safety stock was kept, but the review was not kept very short. They were keeping the review time like normal other items. If they would have been reviewing that the car is okay, the floods are coming, let's get the goods in advance. So highest degree of monitoring and control. Leverage, again safety stock choices are many. Short review intervals, high degree of monitoring and controls. Routine, low values. I can keep high level of safety stock around. Longest review, when I'm keeping high level of safety stock in routine items or even the bottleneck items, my money blocked is not much. And even I can keep my review also longer. I don't have to look at it every day. But in the case of bottleneck item, I will certainly look at a short time. It's not the cost, but being a bottleneck item, my review part will be, if this one critical I'm looking every week, routine I may look after 6 months, after 3 months. Bottleneck I may look after 1 month. So it's a different approach. Now the question comes, why stock taking is necessary? I think simple thing is there around. If you go, I'm sure many of you, when you go to any pharma shop, you ask for a medicine, the guy sees on the computers available. When you open the box, the item is not available. Same thing happens in the real life also. You might be feeling the goods have come, but they have been misplaced, lost, obsolete. So I think there's a need for stock taking. So you will find every day you go to any retail, somebody is counting the numbers every day. And that's becoming an old fashion, because nowadays with RFID and other things around technology and softwares, you can find actual number with real time. But that actual number is real time is one thing, but somebody has picked up the item from one place to another place, there are difficulties. Until you have RFID, then you are able to find and trace it where they are lying. So that's important. So stock taking is important. Now the methods and accuracy of stock taking. One could be do on a periodic basis. Second is continuous. Now the periodic means I fix a period guy. All my critical items I will review every week or fortnight or month. Other ones I'll take after 2 months. Other one I'll take after 6 months. So you decide the period. And you feel this is not going to disturb my assembly line. But nowadays the continuous stock taking goes on the real-time basis with those who have got the good software. It goes on a regular basis. Then accuracy also in stock taking. If you're doing around, okay guys, what is the accuracy we accept around? Because there's the issue of compliance. Auditors will come, they say, guys, okay, let me show me on the computers. Oh, this shows 200 parts. Let me go and check. And random they will check. They're not going to check every item. They'll go and check at random and they find instead of 200 is only 100. They'll say, guys, accuracy level was plus minus 1%. This guy is having 50%. And this becomes the audit issue. It's become the compliance issue. So you need a wonderful accuracy of the stock taking. Now the next comes, I've got so many inventories around. What is the value of all this? FIFO concepts, there's the LIFO concepts, and then average value concept. FIFO means first in, first out. I think this example will tell you. I'll just go through one looking at the time. So we have the issued quantities. So if we look at the issued quantity in July, price was $100. 200 pieces you received. Then on 1st August you have issued 100. You're left up with 100 in the last line. In September you issued 60. You're left up with 40. In 1st August you got 200 more. Then you got 240. You've issued on 1st November this year, 100 pieces. You're left with 140. Now, what do I do with the 140? So the 40 pieces of this are coming from the back end. So those are at $100. Only the next one which I look around, 60 pieces. So this one, 60 pieces will be at $150. So that means the number you should have done around inventory wise is 13,000. So this is how we look around FIFO's. FIFO's figures will be lower in case the prices are shooting up. But if prices are going down, then maybe the LIFO will give you better one. So if your cost is less of inventories, maybe then your profitability also goes up. So this also has an effect on the profitability. So this is on the LIFO basis where you can see the same examples with 19,000. This is on the average cost and standard costing, which nowadays hardly anyone does it. Now the points to consider in this one is if inventory value will affect the company's profit or not. You can see around your closing inventories. If it is very high, this could make a difference on the operating profit. Next one comes inventory turnover. You could call inventory turnover. You may call average age of inventories around. What is my average age of inventory? Is my inventory lying for how many days before it goes out? Is it 20 days? Is it 60 days? It is 100 days? Some people call inventory turnover. Some people call as average age of my inventory. Guys, what is the age of the inventory? How much? That's what we look around to achieve the satisfactory level of customers. So we do have inventories, but within a reasonable number. So this is the ratio of average cost of the goods sold. So we could call the cost of goods sold COGS. So what is the cost of the goods sold to average inventory investment? I've got inventory of, let's say, $1 million, but my sale is $100 million. So the ratio becomes 1 million divided by 300 million is 1 by 3 multiplied by 365 days. So it comes close to 122 days, or 121.9 or something. So this is close one at all. So this is how we work it out, the ratio part. So if you want to be very effective, you need to look into these factors. The lead time, estimates of holding cost, what is my ordering cost, what is the cost of my shortage cost. And this question normally I do ask whenever we do the program or any training program for a company, what is the cost of ordering? They feel shocked. They forget around to make a purchase order. There are staff involvement around. There's an acquisition, there's a staff. Somebody has to review it, somebody has to approve, who are all getting salaries. If you add up all that, there's an ordering cost. On an average, I can talk around with my experience in the US, it used to be $120, $130 per purchase order. I'm not talking the value, what goes inside the purchase order, the item, the process cost. It's $120, $130. In India, it is maybe less, but there is a cost. So if you're making too many orders, there's a cost involved. If I cut down the number of orders, I save the money. Now, the mathematical model which is used to determine the order quantity, what should be the size? I think this many of us must have studied, those who went for the MBS program. So we used to call EOQs economic order quantity. Those who are coming with economics background, they all know very well. So there are holding costs, which is straight line. More the items, straight line, it goes up. I've got 100 pieces, X price. 200, double, triple. So it goes like a straight line. While my ordering cost goes like a parabolic going down. If I'm placing order for 10 pieces, the price is X. If I'm placing order for 100, the price is Y. I get discounts. So it goes like this. So if you add the two components, it becomes the total cost. So if you look at the dotted line, that is EOQ. So that means that is a place where my holding cost and ordering cost is becoming the balance. Assumptions, we always think there's only one product is involved, but real life is different. There may be many products. Annual demand requirement is known, which we all know is $1 million things question. Demands are always made, the forecasts are always made, but forecasts are supposed to be wrong also. Demand is even throughout the years, which may or may not happen. Lead time does not vary. If company has gone into strike, company has raw material issues around, lead time could vary. Each order received in a single delivery, sometimes it comes in pieces. There's no quantity, there are no quantity discounts. So there are the assumptions around. So keep in mind these things around lead time, holding cost, ordering cost, and shortage cost. If there's a shortage, there's a cost to it. Customers will come and next time the customer will not come to you. So there is a price for that. So here try to understand this whole thing around inventory uses. At a 0 level, I place an order, my inventory rises to full maximum level of Q. I go on using it, then come to 0 level, then goes up, again down, goes up. I go on using in a slope form. The average is Q by 2. Now here you look around, instead of going up to 0 level and then placing an order, the reorder point is little up. That means I place the order and this becomes my buffer so that by the time I consume to 0 level, I don't want to come to 0 level, my goods are already coming. So it balances up around. When it comes to reorder level, safety stocks, I think there are service level. Again, I think we discussed this point. So let me give you some ideas around. So reorder point is average daily users. You have over a span of a year or whatever, 6 months, you have a daily users, average, multiplied with the lead time plus safety stock. So reorder point is this. And the safety stock is nothing but the maximum daily users into maximum lead time and minus on average side. So one side I'm taking the maximum, very extreme case, other case I'm taking the average. The combination of the two, take the minus, that's the safety stock. Production order quantities and production is different because those companies which are not depending on others, they're making their own parts. Like when I buy from outside, I get 100 computers straight away. But if I'm making in-house, they're going in a gradual process. My inventory is building up. So it does not reach like a vertical line. It's not a vertical cliff. It is going in a slopey way, and the maximum inventory comes because I'm making parts, I'm painting something, I'm making 100 components. It comes in a piecemeal. It takes time T before it reaches the full level. Then I start using it. Then again within the same T time, my production comes up. Again I consume it. So this is how parallelly both activities goes on. The accuracy of the inventories. Inaccurate inventory records can cause lost sales. We all know it. You are showing something but actually is not available. It can disrupt your operations. Poor customer service. It can cut down your productivities. You have planned some productions, but then you find one or two parts are not available. Assembly line come to a stop still. I'm going to fix up my assembly line, put up the tires, but then I find the nuts and bolts are not there. I can't fix the tire. The whole productivity could come to a standstill. Planning errors and expediting. So they could have periodic counting or cycle counting. So cycle counting is daily counting and a pre-specified items. So this is very periodic, often used with ABC analysis. For A items, what is the period? For B item, what is the period? For C item, what is the period? So this is where you can see the cycle counting, item A, B, C. I've got 500 items under the A category. Each month I'm doing. B category, I got 1,750 each quarter. C items, nuts and bolts, low values. So every 6 months, you can see the number of items counted per day. Average comes out to be 25 plus 29 plus 33. 77 per day. Lot for lot, whenever you all know from the procurement background that when we are placing an orders, should I do it on a lot for lot basis? Should I do on a fixed order quantity? Min and max basis or order end periods? Okay guys, I'm going to place order only 3 times in a year. Or I go with a lot by lot. Or I could say guys, this is my fixed lot. Every time I place an order, my this size will be this. Or I could say guys, whenever it comes to the min level, and this is my max level, the gap between the two is this much for each SKU, and for each SKU I place an order. Well friend, with this I want to thank you for your patient hearing.